So the Meltdown, right? This is the Meltdown. This is the wall plane version, right? You know one of them, but you were going to work on the other one, I think. Okay, let's do some drill. So you're trying to get it on the front, and you're going front to back, front to back, front to back, which without trying to turn your hips fully this way. So it's not this, right? It's definitely got a different kinesthetic. I have another way to help you get into it. So counterclockwise looks like this on the front plane. Or if you're just doing the figure eight, it's just this. And I would recommend not a skirt, less than ideal. But this trick will still work if you're having trouble getting into it. So start your poi on the front plane. This is your left poi. You started in underhand. And then turn to the right, 90 degrees. So it'll be on your left plane. Then turn to the right, 90 degrees, so it'll be behind you. Then flip your wrist so that your palm's back. Then turn again another 90 degrees, and then it'll be on the crossing side plane. And then keep turning your body, 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 keep turning your body. No. Keep the poi. No. The whole entire time the poi stays where it is. Sorry. Here's what you're doing. Let me show you what you're doing. You're good, you're good, you're good. But then you're doing this. But you're trying to get the poi over here, right? So you need to do this, and then you need to go around and keep turning so that you can go front to back to front to back to front to back. And I grant you, my front to back is, my body's very twisted because I have big ass and hips, but you should not have as many problems with that. And then so once you have it here, the next step is to try and go front to back, front to back, front to back, front to back. And just practicing that crossover with that arm. And of course, this is your weaker arm. So, you know, don't be surprised if it takes a little longer. There is a discrete, I feel like there's a very big difference between this, where it's mostly like my hips are perpendicular to the plane of the poi. That is very different than making any sort of effort to have the hip be parallel to the poi. What I'm trying to have you do is exercise this portion, because I think this is much harder than this, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're putting together this and this and this and this. But I mean, everybody can go over their shoulder pretty much, right? And the one behind the back around the waist is the one that's really hard. That will also, that particular drill that I gave you, where you're practicing going front plane to back plane, parallel to the hip, parallel to the screen, this guy, will also help you with doing waist wraps in that direction, which I think you don't have yet either. And they probably fit together. Behind the back weave, this is behind the back weave in underhand. This is side plane. This is behind the back weave in overhand. Right. A waist wrap. Now, other people may disagree with how I am discussing this. This is my description. I would say there is not necessarily shared reality amongst the flow scene about what the terminology means. When I think of a waist wrap, my experience is you're moving between an overhand wall plane weave behind the back on one side and an underhand wall plane weave behind the back on the other side. And then which one is on which side depends on whether you're doing clockwise or counterclockwise. So if I'm doing counterclockwise, this to me is like I'm doing an underhand weave behind the back, and then if I flatten it right there, right? If I flatten it to the wall plane here, it's like underhands on this side. And then if I take the overhand behind the back weave here, and I flatten it, and then I put the two of them together, oh my God, this was like the worst skirt choice for today. Because not only is it a skirt, it's 2 layers of skirt with a freaking ruffle. So it's like bigger than usual. So this is going from what I would say a flattened wall plane underhand on this side to a flattened wall plane overhand on the other side. And then it's the other way in the other direction. So this would be like underhand in this way, and that's overhand on that side, flattened. Does that make sense? What you're doing with the Meltdown is you're taking half of a waist wrap, this part, and then half of a crosser, that part, and you're putting them together. So you're like, yeah, I get it conceptually, but not yet in my body. So you're still underhand with your left. Can you go across and do it and then come back home? Go across and then come back home. So just cross over on the other side. Yeah, just like that. Now let's add to it. So you cross over here and now you go behind the back on the shoulder side, right? And that's, there it is. Yeah, all you do is that, but no beat on the front when you come through. Yes, there it is, exactly that. And let's do 10 and 9 more and 8 more and 7 more and 6 more, 5 more, 4 more, 3 more, 2 more, and last one. Okay, now let's try the other hand. Can you do this part without doing that turning into it portion? Do like this, where you have it here, and then turn to your left this time. So turn 90 degrees left, turn 90 degrees left again. Flip your wrist so your palm is back. Keep going. Now this will prepare you for an underhand behind the back weave here. And then you keep turning, and then try the front to back thing that we were doing a minute ago with the other hand. And again, do not recommend the ruffled double skirt situation. This is the same sort of thing that you probably did in the beginning when you were learning your weave, right? Where you were starting your crossovers. Now you're just doing it in a different location. This is so great. Who knew you had such an area of opportunity? You turn, you turn, you turn, you hold it there, you hold it there, you lift the other arm, you lift the other arm. You try and not hit the damn skirt, and then you do your figure eights. And then after you have your figure eights, you can put it together into the behind the back, and then behind the back, behind the shoulder. Another way that you can start this, I struggle with this, but I have found people who are thinner than I am do not have as much trouble with this particular thing I'm going to show you that I struggle with, which is where you take the hand, you put it behind your back here, and then you start it manually with your other hand. That can help. I find that challenging to do. I find it all challenging to do though. I'm only barely thin enough to do waist wraps, frankly. But these drills will get you there. Even if it's not feeling like it's getting very far, these will get you there. The next step would be going from this thing, which I actually think is harder than doing the full movement. So going to this, where you're going around the back to the front in the waist wrap, and then behind the back over the shoulder in the half crosser portion of it. Yeah, don't even do the figure eight anymore. Just try and do the whole thing. Bum, 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 bum. So you're going from here to here, from here to here, from here to here. It should be counterclockwise, but when you go over your shoulder, it's going to appear the opposite way when you look over your shoulder. So if it's counterclockwise in front of me and I look over my shoulder, it should look clockwise as I look at it behind me. I think the very thing that you're struggling with is the thing that I was pointing out when I had you do the drill, where you turn, 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 and then you have to flip your wrist. Because when you're here and you come around, if you don't bring it like this and you bring it like this, there's this thing that happens here where you have to change the orientation of your elbow so that your wrist is below your elbow in order to get it around in the waist wrap. So you need to have palm back while you're doing it. Probably still would benefit from doing more of these, just this portion of it, or even just this portion of it, so that you feel more comfortable with that front plane position in the waist wrap portion of the movement.